everybody and welcome to Hero Crafter's short overviews. In this video series I share my opinion on some suggestions I check out in various different forums. Today I'm going to talk about some suggestions from playdota.com, some items and remake suggestions. I'm not just going to highlight some ideas that I like, I'm also going to comment on ideas that I didn't like all that much. So the creator can, well, if he agrees with my opinion, work more on his suggestion and tweak it if needed. The first suggestion I'm going to talk about is a slight tweak to Radiance. It's a suggestion by M. Wazer. Basically, what he's suggesting is allow multiple Radiance auras to stack with each other, but not completely. Like, it won't do like 50 plus another 50 from 2 Radiances. Instead, it will be 50 plus, let's say, something like 25. It won't fully combine the additional damage. How it's going to work is basically every hero is going to have a unique Radiance debuff. And for every debuff on the enemy, additional damage will be dealt to it. A very important question was asked in the thread, and it was that, well, to which hero the kill credit will go, and the way it's going to be most likely is the first Radiant source is the one that's going to take the kill credit, and that's actually going to work out quite nicely because, like in a few versions ago, Radiance was made so that you can turn it on and off. So let's say that your carry has bought a Radiance and that you're a semi-carry and also decide to buy a Radiance simply to push lanes much faster. It's not going to be all that bad because in a team fight you can turn off your Radiance for a second, so your main carries Radiance aura becomes the one that applies to everyone, and then activate it again, so yours is actually the second applied debuff like aura. That way you won't take the kill credit and your carry will. That way your carry will have more money and like more money to spend on items or buyback. Some people didn't like this suggestion quite a lot. In my opinion, it's mostly because they thought that also illusions will apply the additional damage stacking and stuff from multiple Radiant sources, but no, it's only going to be for heroes. And some other people said that it's not going to be all that much cost efficient, and I agree with them to some point. Right, because the numbers that the OP suggested are rather low. He suggests that Radiance has a regular of 40 DPS and an additional source gives 20 additional DPS, which adds up to 60, which is just 10 more than regular Radiance, and that's not very good in my opinion. And for 3 instances, it's actually going to be with an additional 10, so it's going to be like 40 plus 20 plus 10, and it's going to be an overall of 70 DPS. I personally find that too low. In my opinion, Radiance should keep the steady 50 damage per second, and all additional sources should add something like 15 additional damage. So one additional source, 65 damage per second, 2 sources, it's going to be 80 damage per second, and so on and so on. And it's going to be an overall of, let's see, something like 110, I think, DPS if all 5 heroes buy a Radiance. Which I don't see any team buying. It may sound good on paper, dealing 110 damage to everyone per second in a huge AoE, but it's actually not going to be all that much, and it's not that much worth it. Right now, at least in pub games, it's going to make up for people who buy additional Radiance because they simply don't know that it doesn't stack. The next suggestion I would like to talk about is a suggestion by Draw Ranger 87, and that is changing Shrapnel's damage type from magical to composite. For those who don't know what's composite damage, that is both magical and physical damage at the same time. Now, some of you may think that this may be a nerf to sniper. In a way it is, because now the ability will be also reduced by physical, by armor as well as magic resistance. But on the other hand, it will deal damage to magic immune units. This also includes ancients, so you can cast this ability to help you out clean off ancient camps much faster and spawn faster. Uh, I'm not very sure if I like this suggestion or not, simply because it may require some number changes which may be a bit too high, so it will deal a bit like more moderate damage to heroes, since it's going to be also reduced by armor now, but at the same time that increase may be a bit too big and help him, um, I don't know, maybe like have a bit too much of an advantage in lane. I'm not very sure. It really needs to be tested in game to decide whether it's actually a needed change or not, and can't really be decided on paper, but it's an interesting idea. The last suggestion we'll be looking at today is an item suggestion by me actually. It's an item called Otrovis Guise. It gives 20 bonus spell resistance and an active ability called Venomous Effigy. Uh, it's made from a normal venom and Planewalker's Cloak and a recipe which costs 500. In total it costs 1325 gold. The active summons a statue at a target location. After 2 seconds, the statue will burst, applying a moderate poison to enemy units. The poison lasts 5 seconds, it deals 25 damage per second, slows movement and attack speed by 25%, aerial effect is 300, and the passive spell resistance is removed for 10 seconds and then returned. That's the bonus 20 magic resistance you gain from just wearing the item. And it costs 18 mana to cast and has a 15-second cooldown. Now, what are the uses of this ability? Well, I suggested it for two main reasons. First of all, it's not all that expensive and gives a bit more variety in the AHP department for spellcasters. Right now, they don't really have anything like that. They can get a cloak and later on make a hood, but a hood is a bit more expensive. This does also allow them to um, have a bit more presence in roaming, since the ability deals some damage and also slows. Um, and the other uses are that it can also help you push a lane or defend, or when you simply cannot be in a lane and just want to make sure that it's pushed out, you can just toss in a Venomous Effigy and leave. It will do a total of 125 magical damage to the enemy creeps. It will also slow their attack speed, which will allow your creeps to overwhelm them. Not by much, but it's still going to allow you to kill some of the enemy creeps, and if you kill them with the poison, you will also gain some gold, which is always welcomed for a support, if it's not stolen from the carry, that is. And of course it gives um, another use for Orb of Venom, which is not all that much of a popular item. It's really rarely used, and yeah, You either get it early game for a very few heroes for the slow, and for even fewer heroes late game for IF Skadi, and that's it. Okay, that's all for this episode. Stay tuned for more episodes, and stay tuned for my other series, Hero Crafters Spotlight and Hero Crafters Reviews. In those suggestions, I go into more details for one specific suggestion, mainly hero suggestions, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be very interesting. Also, if you like this, please subscribe and like the video, and share it if you want, and check out my stream. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching.